All right, let's talk about my favorite thing in the whole world. What is it? What is it? Planning sheets! Oh, I love planning sheets. Yeah. I love planning sheets so much. Every time we all get together, what's my favorite thing to talk about? Planning sheets. Now, why are these planning sheets so exciting? Well, there's actually a reason to have planning sheets. Here, number one, we have to have some kind of similarity amongst all of our trips. We can't just all do our own thing. We're all part of Merge, and Merge has to have some similarities in how things are done. So you can't just completely do whatever you want. You've got to follow a system. The system is primarily in the planning sheets. So you've got to follow the planning sheets. It's just like McDonald's. This is what I always say at our trainings. It's like McDonald's. McDonald's is similar everywhere you go. Now, the menu's not the same, right? If you go to India, there's no beef in the burgers. If you go to Spain, they have totally different menu than they do in the United States or Canada or Mexico. But even though the menu is different somewhat, McDonald's is still quite the same. So we need Merge to have similarities. Secondly, as part of customer service, one of the most important things to know about customer service is you need to anticipate people's questions before they ask them. If you can answer someone's questions before they ask, that is good customer service. If you follow the planning sheets in the time that's mentioned, you will a lot of the times answer people's questions before they ask them, and they'll be like, wow, that Merge trip facilitator is incredible. They knew what I was going to ask. So that's good customer service. Thirdly, we want to make sure you don't forget anything on the trips. So if you do everything that's on the planning sheet, then you won't forget the important parts of every trip. It would be a bummer if you're on the trip, something happens, and you're like, oh, I forgot to have a first aid kit. Well, here it says first aid kit. Should have had one if you would have followed your planning sheet. So I just went over the planning sheets again, and I made a few changes, and I just want to go over those things with you, okay? I sent you the email with the updated planning sheets, and it's not an updated sheet. I actually crossed off things that I'm going to eliminate, so you can see what I'm going to eliminate, okay? Of course, you have page 1, all the basic information, trip dates, people's contact information, etc., okay? What is great is you don't have to send this to me anymore because Evie Leonard keeps track of all these things for me. So you don't need to send this stuff to me anymore. Schedule, tentative schedule, probably the most important document of any trip. Tentative schedule, okay? Now let's get to all of the little things here, all right? Who trains the team? I put down under training, every team that has at least 10 people or more gets to receive training from Merge. I put down who trains the team because some of you are unable to travel to the United States. I understand there's situations, or some of you live very far away and you're asking other people to do it. So I just added who's going to train the team for you. It could be me, it could be some other people who are really good at training teams, okay? I got rid of the line that says leader info to ED. You don't have to send me that leadership information anymore. Distance transportation offered. I don't know why I have that line. Pretty much 99% of the trips we have, the teams are flying. And if they're driving, we already know. This really isn't that big of a deal anymore. I highlighted the sending the minor's permission letter. More and more countries around the world are requiring young people who are under 18 without their parents that they need a permission letter that is notarized and signed by both letters to go. This is becoming more and more common in a lot of the countries, so we need you to start making sure you send that minor's permission letter out there, okay? All right, the 4 month, I didn't really change anything on the 4 months, Make sure you're sending video. Make sure you're sending photographs of the places where the team is going to go. Make sure you keep track of all their housing. You get the opening briefing is in the schedule, closing briefing in the schedule, estimates for work projects that you're sending teams the schedule. Again, that's 4 months out. Make sure you're doing all those things for the team. 2 months out, I got rid of the Mexican insurance because, again, almost no one is driving to Mexico at this point. So that's really not needed on this sheet. And then I crossed off note about merge merchandise because we don't have any merge merchandise. We still have wonderful coffee from Guatemala to sell, but we don't have any merge merchandise. And then I highlighted send message for devotions and debriefings. Please make sure the teams know that you can do devotionals and debriefings for their team if they choose. Now, we have a couple of different sets of devotions and debriefings that you can use, written by different merge staff. So make sure you have those available and that you tell the team leader that you're willing to do devotionals and debriefings for the teams if they so choose. Send that message out to them. Make sure they know about that. Now, I'd like to talk a lot more about the follow-up. This is the area that we need to keep growing as a ministry, okay? I added in follow-up meeting planned. As you know, in 2019, we started implementing that you need to ask every team if you could either do a video conference call with the team after the trip is over, or that you could go visit the team after the trip is over. Part of this is to find out how that trip impacted them and how that trip is going to impact how they do ministry and ministry as a church in the future, okay? So make sure you do that with every team. Now, I know some teams aren't responding to you, and some teams it doesn't make any sense. Like a school team, that's probably not going to make any sense. But I'd like that to be really important for you a lot. I'd like you to make a lot of effort into it. And I want you to know I'm willing to spend the money to have you fly and spend time with those teams. I think that is incredibly valuable to go and spend time with them. Remember, the goal is to find out how did the merge trip change the way they behave, change the way they do intercultural relationships, how it changed the way they do ministry as a church and in their community. Okay? Extremely important to do. And I put a little extra 6 months. We'd never had that before. That again is a checkup and asking them the question, all right, so now it's been 6 months after the trip. Share with me how that trip has changed how you do ministry in your own community. Those are some stories we at Merge need to hear about. And so I'd like you just to kind of reconnect with people down the road. So thank you so much for following the planning sheets and doing a great job organizing things with the team leaders in a timely manner.